Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daphne, and if you are new, welcome. Today's video is going to be all about how parents can support their children while learning online. And I get a lot of questions from parents on what they can do to better support them while they're learning online. And we are back online here in Ontario. Students are preparing to go online starting tomorrow, Monday, for a good chunk of time. So I'm going to be sharing six tips that I have fully discussed with students and parents reaching out to me, asking me, how can they better support their children? I know the first time when we were online, we were all kind of scrambling. Parents were doing everything they could to support their children online, and bless them because they did an awesome job. Now we're back online again, and we want to best that we can for our children and our students. So we're going to get started. I have 6 tips that I am so excited about sharing because they are really probably tips you already know, but maybe you just need to hear it from a teacher. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is setting up the environment. And this is not that tricky. Basically, it is trying to figure out where is your child going to be working. You want it to be consistent, so you want to pick an area where it will be very clear cut that that's the area every day that they're going to be working at. So that could be a kitchen table, that could be a dining room table, that can be in the family room, or even in their bedroom. And it should be an area where you have somewhat of some control over. So an area where the distractions are going to be very minimal, an area where you can bounce in and out to kind of check in with them to see if they're on task, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Also enough space where you can do your own thing. Like, I know a lot of parents are going to be also working from home. So trying to figure out the environment is huge. So a lot of parents that I've spoken to have their children working either, if they're older, in their bedroom or at the kitchen table, somewhere on the main floor if they have more than one floor, or somewhere where they're in the proximity of where they are so they can of hearing them if they should need support. Having materials available. I know for my students, I have tried to make it super easy for parents and students. So I have a workbox and I have all their folders inside, and it's basically that's what they have. They put it on their table. It doesn't matter where they are in their house or wherever they live. They put it right next to them. So as I'm teaching, I will say, pull out your social studies folder or your math folder. It's very simple, and it doesn't take a lot of space. But if you don't have that and your children are coming with their materials, having that very close by to them is very handy. So if the teacher says to them, okay, let's look at this workbook, or let's look at the textbook if they've been given a textbook to take home. Just having things right there, because the last thing you want your child to do is start looking and running around the house trying to find their things. So preparing for their environment, like preparing their work area, is really, really important. It just allows less distractions to happen while they're online, because you can lose a lot of instruction time if you don't have your stuff ready to go and the teacher is saying, okay, let's look at this, and then they're off looking in their school bag, or if they're looking in their rooms. So just having all the materials there ready for them can be really, really helpful, and also a big time saver. The next thing is setting up the environment with rules. So what are the rules while they're at home? Older kids, that might be figuring out the cell phone situation. Like, maybe the cell phone is not going to be part of their work area. Maybe that's something that will be charging or placed in another room until later on during break time. Or, for example, their toys or their iPads that they might be, their game systems. The temptation is what you want to get away from the environment of where they're going to be learning. So keeping it very organized, very clean, and just avoiding any temptations that they might have during online learning. So while they're learning online, it's very focused. It's the main thing is their technology that they're going to be communicating with their teachers, and just making sure that everything's around them ready to go. The basics is the rules. Like, so what rules as a family are you going to implement while they're learning online? You know, there's no right or wrong answer, and I really want to stress that for parents. I need you guys to remember that you got to get through these days easy, as stress-free as possible. So trying to figure out what works for you and your family may look very differently than what it might look like in another family house. So setting those rules and those boundaries are huge, especially if you are also working from home. You want to make this really easy for yourself. So while they're learning online and you have them set up, you can also continue working on your own things. Minimum distractions on both ends. Tip number 2 is setting routines. And during the first lockdown, I remember a lot of my students, you know, asking about routines, like what are the routines while, you know, they're at home? And again, that can vary. But I like to say to students and to parents is keep it as similar as if they were going to school. So that means getting up at a certain time, you know, getting their morning routines done, doing their beds, tidying up their rooms, having breakfast, getting dressed. You know, a lot of parents and a lot of students shared during the first lockdown, students working in their PJs. And for many, that was okay. But now being through it and ready to go back online with students, one thing that I did get feedback from my students was that when they kept the routines similar, it was really easy for them to transition back on face-to-face learning. So keeping those routines similar is really, really important. It keeps consistency. It keeps students feeling like things are predictable. And in such an environment right now where things are not predictable, we want our children to feel like things are the same as much as we can. So setting those routines and figuring out what works in your household is really important. And again, they will vary, and they are not the same like they might be in other households. So setting up a schedule, setting up a routine, so that when the day begins, it becomes a habit. And we want that. We want habits, good habits to form while students are learning online, so that it is an easy transition and it just helps with their learning overall. So set routines. It doesn't have to be intense or, you know, crazy routines. It could be the same routines that you had for your children when they were going to school full time. So set those routines and encourage your children to do them independently and have them get used to them, so that way you also can have free time while the morning begins before they go online. The third tip is let them make mistakes. I know it's really hard as parents, but the best thing that you could do for them is allow them that. Allow them to make mistakes. Allow them to figure it out. Yes, support them. And how do you support them? Support them by being there. Support them by providing the environment where they can flourish. Have them have the routines set in place. but allow them to make mistakes. That is so important while they are learning online. It is not going to be perfect. And I think as parents, we need to understand that right from the get-go. It's not going to be perfect. You will not have internet service. Sometimes it will lag. Sometimes will not be able to hear the other side of the computer, but let them make mistakes. Don't feel like you always have to jump in to rescue them. They will learn a lot more if we allow them to make mistakes. It's going to be messy. And there will be times where like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what she's talking about. I can't find this, can't find that. That's okay. Having them understand that this is going to be a process and them figuring it out independently will teach them much more than if someone constantly jumps in to rescue them. And I know it's with good intent, and even teachers have a hard time with that. You know, we give them problems, word problems in math especially, and we are like struggling not to jump in and give them the answer or help them. I have learned personally is let them make the mistakes, let them struggle, set it up, make sure they're connected, make sure they can hear what the teacher is saying, but let them do the work. Let them figure it out. Still be supportive, be encouraging, let them know you can do this. I know I'm here. Don't take it on, because that can only increase stress levels both for yourself and for your children. So allowing them to make the mistakes and allowing them to do the work. We know some of the work that children are producing online. We know it's not their work. So please, from a teacher, let them do their own work. Perfect work here. We want to know that the work that they're doing online is their work. We want to know, because it takes away from us what and where your children are academically. We already know you know how to do the work. We want to see if your children, if our students know how to do the work. And it also really helps us as teachers, because we're planning and we spend hours and hours and hours planning the work that we're putting online and the activities that we want our students to complete. It is not serving our students, it's not serving us, it's not serving parents. Let them do the work. You know what, it might just be a sentence. Like if they're in kindergarten, they might just need to follow along. If they're in grade 4 and they're asked to do a paragraph, and you're looking at the work and you're going, what kind of paragraph is this? You don't have all the parts to it. Let them do the work to their ability. I know it's hard. I know it's hard because you want to help, you want to support them, but the best support that you can do is truly just being there for them. Just being supportive in the sense of their emotional well-being, their mental well-being, and their environment. The work part, that's for us. We will figure it out. We will meet with our students in either breakout rooms or when we're actually conversing with them through online learning. The biggest tip that I'd like to share to parents is just let them do their work. Them learn through online learning, through the teaching that teachers are doing right now. And if you do feel children are not getting the concept, then send out an email to your teacher. Reach out to your teacher. That is a lot more impactful as far as learning than you doing the work for your children. I know I am addressing the elephant in the room before we go back online, and the biggest tip is let them do their work. Don't jump in. You can support them, you can encourage them, you can guide them, but as far as the assignments or the work that they're asked to complete while online learning, let them do it to their ability. You can discuss it, but don't do it for them. So that's the tip. Don't do their work for them. Tip number 4, reach out. And this is huge. You know, we are online, but technology is the same. So for all those parents that are struggling at home and you are struggling with setting routine, setting the environment, complete your children completing the work, reach out. I can't say it more simple than that. Do not feel you are burdening the teacher, because you're not. Send an email through the board that they use. My parents actually get on and they say to me, can we talk at the end of the day, or can we set up something so we can chit chat about what I need to do? And teachers want that. Teachers want parents to communicate. We're not mind readers. And I know it is very difficult on both ends. It's not easy. My parents call me at school, and my policy is if I can answer the phone call, I don't wait this 12 hours, 24 hours rule. If my parents call me, there's a reason why my parents call me. And I want to get to them ASAP. I want to figure out what is it that they're calling me about. What can I do to support them, and what's our next step? Because my whole philosophy is that I've talked about this before. It's the triangle, and it's me, the parents, and the student. And if a parent reaches out, but right now it's really hard because you can't call teachers. And maybe that's different in some countries or some other provinces, but in Ontario, we are not allowed to give our personal phone numbers to parents. It does make it a little bit more challenging, but email teachers. You are struggling, if your computer's not working or something's happening with the computer and your children are not able to see the work, or you don't understand what they're supposed to do while they're online and the work is unclear, email the teacher and say, please get in touch with me, and then teachers can call you. This is huge because it allows teachers to really connect with parents and also connect with students. If they're not hearing from you, the parent, and the student is doing okay, but then when the computer's shut and everything's going chaos at home because of things that are going on online, teachers don't know about that. So the lines of communication definitely need to be up as far as parents reaching out to teachers. So don't hesitate. Don't feel like you're a burden. As I know teachers welcome that. Teachers want parents to be on board. Teachers want to support parents. Teachers want students to do well while online. So don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Don't feel like, the teacher is going to be upset. I don't even know if that's the word. I don't know. But I do hear from some parents that, they don't want to be that parent that constantly contacts the teacher. But I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying if something's happening or you're not sure or you feel that you need more support, reach out. And at least that way, if the teacher can't help you, if it's a technology issue, like I know I had a few students first lockdown, and there were things I tried my 10 things that I knew what to do, and the technology kind of doesn't do what it's supposed to. And I was able to reach out. And then I was able to go and say to my principal or my VP and say, look, I have a student, this is not working for them. I need your help. I need you now as my support person to connect with those families and see what's happening. And for the most part, those concerns or those glitches were literally solved within a day. So I always say to parents, please reach out. Please, send me an email if you're in doubt. The worst that's gonna happen is I'm gonna say, I'm not sure. Let me get back to you. And that's what parents need to understand, is that we might not always have the answers, especially with technology, because there's things, I can't say to a parent, please come after school and let me look at your technology, or let me see what I can do, or let me see if I can get my lead person to look at the computer that you borrowed from the school to help you. I can't do that right now because we're not at school. But there are still staff members that work for our boards that are still working, that they're still in those roles of responsibilities. So reach out. That's my tip. Reach out, ask for help, don't be shy, send those emails for clarification. So that way it's a smooth transition back online, and it's a smooth learning transition for both you, the parent, and your children. So don't hesitate, reach out. Tip number 5 is encourage growth mindset. So what do I mean by that? I want to encourage parents to encourage their children to have the mindset of, you might not understand this now, or you might not know how to do this now, but you will learn to do this. You haven't learned it yet. There's that famous word teachers use, and that word is yet. You don't know this yet, but you will learn this. It's not impossible. You're going to learn this. So we as teachers always enforce that. I always say to my students, they go, I don't know how to do this, or I have never done this before. And I go, that's okay. That's fine. We have all been there at some time where we are introduced to something that's new. And with that comes struggle. And I know for parents and I know for teachers, at times, that is really hard for some of our students, is the struggle of starting something new, learning something new, adjusting to it, learning from our mistakes, and becoming an expert in it. So the nice thing is that we have been online previously, and there are certain things at this time in the game of being back online that our students should know. They should be familiar with certain things. Logging on to the computer independently. They should be able to go to the platform that your school uses. In Ontario, it's Google Classroom. Most teachers use Google Classroom. And they should be able to understand how to go to the Google Meet. So those 3 huge things of logging on, turning on the computer, logging on, and going to the Google Meet or going to the platform to learn online should be independent at this time in the game. But there are going to be things that the teachers will introduce that will be new to them. And as parents, if we can set that mindset of, you might not know this yet, and yes, it's frustrating, and yes, it can get, difficult for many, to set the mindset of the whole philosophy that you don't know this yet, but you will, and building on that will help motivate and emotionally support your children. I know for myself, with my students, some students at school might throw temper tantrums, or they might give up. Those are normal reactions when you struggle for a lot of children. When that happens, take a breath. Parents, take a breath, count to 10, pause if you need to, and just encourage, be there. Say, you know what, it's okay. If we don't get it this time, I'm gonna send an email to your teacher, or we'll figure it out. We'll try again. It's okay. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause. It's okay to say that you don't know either. It's okay to say those things. That will teach your children and our children to persevere. That difficult things do not come easy. And there's so much growth that happens when you learn new things. When things are difficult at the beginning and you struggle and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm giving up on this. But you don't, there's a level of satisfaction, a level of achievement that one gets when you finally do get it and you finally are able to do it independently. So set that mindset, think positive. You can say right from the beginning, there's gonna be a lot of things online that, you might not know, and that's okay. That is the whole process of learning. And it's okay to struggle. And it's okay to say that you don't understand something. It's not okay though to give up. It's not okay to say that you're not smart enough, because we're all smart. It's not okay to say that you don't feel that you can learn it. All those are all not okay. So we're gonna try the pendulum on the other side, and we're gonna just stay positive. And we're gonna do positive mental notes. So parents, if you're in a situation where your child is saying they don't understand something or they don't know something, or I'm gonna give up or walk away, that's okay, let them. You know, eventually they'll come back to the table with a little bit of encouragement. It's okay to take a pause. It's okay to say to them, okay, we're gonna get through this. Yeah, I get it. Reassure them, I get it. It is hard. Or I see you're struggling, but I know you can do it. I know you can get this figured out. So just be their rock. That's what they need. They need you to be their rock. So think positive, set a growth mindset that from the get-go, that there are going to be things that we might struggle, but we will get through this. And that's going to make a huge difference, because we don't want our students to think that they're going to know everything, because it is healthy not to know everything. It is healthy to say, you know, this is new to me. So taking that pressure off you as a parent and taking that pressure off your students / children works in their favor. So set a good mindset, think positive, use the word yet if you haven't already, so you haven't learned this yet. And that will help with the anxiety, that will help with the idea that they have to know everything. My sixth and final tip is to remember that you guys are human, that you and the world around you have been turned upside down, and that once again, you will be online supporting your children, and to give yourself grace, that we will get through this, and that it's okay as parents and educators that we support each other, and that we are kind to each other, and that it's okay to say that I need a break, that you are not perfect, and we're not looking for perfection as teachers, that we will get through this, and to be mindful of your own mental health, and to be mindful that you also need breaks, and it's okay to ask for breaks, and that when your children are online, that it's okay to say that you don't know, and that it's okay. It's okay to say to your children, Mom needs a 5-minute break, or Dad needs a 5-minute break, or whoever you're with needs a 5-minute break, and that taking care of yourself long run will seep into taking care of your children. And during these tough times, we all are under different circumstances. Financial situations vary, and the stress level is higher in some households, you know, due to the pandemic. So taking care of your well-being and pausing and being able to verbalize and say, Mommy needs 5 minutes. Mommy needs a break. Try to figure it out. Or they are at the kitchen table doing their work. Mommy could be doing something else, or whoever's looking after them could be doing something else. It's okay to say that. It's okay to give permission to that, because you're also training them to say or to understand that you're human, and that you have a lot on your plate, and that you're not Superwoman or Superman. It is healthy to take breaks, and it is healthy to be mindful of that, because, you know, as parents, we go, and we burn out, and you don't want to burn out. You want to monitor yourself as well. So while we're going back online, I want parents to be really gentle with themselves and to allow breaks for themselves. Even if that means going into the other room and just chilling, or that going outside for a few minutes in the backyard, so deep breaths, that's okay. It's when you keep going, and you don't give yourself permission to pause, the stress level accumulates and then eventually the bubble bursts. So I want parents out there to know that teachers appreciate you, that we understand that households can vary, that not everybody has the space for this online learning, that it can get really busy in a household, and that we know you're doing the best that you can for our students, and that we will get through this. We will persevere, and we will once again see each other face to face. And until next time, stay safe, be strong, and if you are a teacher, keep on teaching. If you're listening to this, and of course, if you are a parent, you can do this, and we will get through this, and it will be better once we do. But I want you to hang in there, and I want you to persevere. And when you're in doubt, I want you to remember this, that teachers all over the world appreciate you, and we understand what you're going through. All right, guys, until next time, keep on teaching and keep on parenting.